Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Here is the latest on stimulus negotiations, and things have gotten a little bit intense. There is a strong last-minute push for larger $1,200 stimulus checks, and while this is unlikely, I want to tell you who just joined in on the push for this, and this came as a surprise. So for this video, you're definitely going to want to make sure you got your life insurance, which you can get in as little as 5 minutes without talking to a single human being, on your phone. Apple Pay, Android Pay for it in the link down below. And of course, get 4 free stocks with Webull. Deposit $100, get 4 free stocks worth between $21 and $1,600. All right, so here's the latest. As we know, the Senate has been debating this relief issue for, well, 9 months. But right now, the Senate is trying to do something known as hotlining, where they basically survey the senators to see, can we get a universal deal without objection, to see, can we get the government's budget extended for 2 days and avoid a government shutdown. However, any single senator can block this, and it is very likely that any such extension will be blocked in the Senate. Now, the House is scheduled to vote between 5 and 6 p.m. tonight on this one-page joint resolution, which would basically extend the government's budget through December 20th. That's Sunday, so they're actually just extending the budget through Sunday because it looks like they're expecting to vote on Sunday and have a deal. However, the problem is, this extension might not pass the Senate because any single senator can block this vote. Basically, they complicate the procedures to pass a bill unanimously, and then it opens up debate, and there's no time for that at this point. Instead, right now, what we're seeing, while this sort of this survey is going on to see, can they get unanimous votes to get this government funding bill extended? At the same time in the Senate, Bernie Sanders just spoke demanding the $1,200 stimulus checks again, saying that this is an amount that Donald Trump supports and that 75% of the people support this. Bernie Sanders says he's extremely frustrated that Congress has failed the people with proper support and has also failed them by letting unemployment pay lapse and not providing hazard pay. He says the least we can do is provide $1,200 stimulus checks when 650 billionaires became over $1 trillion richer throughout this pandemic. He also demands 16 weeks of unemployment instead of the 12 to 13 weeks of unemployment that are currently being negotiated in the $900 billion stimulus package. Bernie Sanders says that we should do a $600 per week unemployment boost as well, not $300. So Bernie has a lot of demands, but his biggest is in S5063. This is a bill to immediately provide $1,200 stimulus checks. It is a standalone bill. Bernie's highest priority is passing these $1,200 checks, and right now the Senate is debating objections on this bill. But the big shift here was that today, Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate, said he is not happy with the current $900 billion stimulus bill and is now standing with Bernie Sanders. This is a big step back from the negotiating table with Republicans. Chuck Schumer had previously expressed openness to the $748 billion bill and the $900 billion bill with the $600 stimulus checks. However, today, Chuck Schumer, who leads the Democrats in the Senate, is U-turning and is now standing with Bernie Sanders. He said it himself. He tweeted, quote, "I'm standing with Senator Sanders to fight for $1,200 stimulus checks. Millions are out of work through no fault of their own. This could mean the difference between Americans paying rent or not, affording groceries or not. These are survival checks." This is clearly an increased push now by Democrats to push for $1,200 stimulus checks. Now, it's not clear why this is happening. Are we seeing this push because they actually believe they're going to get us $1,200 stimulus checks? Or are they doing this to use it as leverage against Republicans to get the Republicans to shut up about basically the CARES Act facilities that they're trying to turn off with the Federal Reserve to prevent Biden from being able to reopen the Federal Reserve's lending facilities for small and medium-sized businesses, municipalities, and corporations, and so on and so forth? Another train of thought is that Senator Schumer may have jumped over with Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley to push for these $1,200 stimulus checks because of that Washington Post article we talked about yesterday, where Donald Trump said he wants to do $2,000 stimulus checks, maybe even $1,200 checks, but basically he was shut up by his White House staff when his White House staff told him, no, we're not going to do that because that's going to blow up negotiations. Well, obviously, these people read the news, so there you go. Now you got Chuck Schumer jumping over going, nope, yep, let's do it. Let's do the $1,200 checks. I'll say it. Whew. Now, right after Bernie requested unanimous consent to get his $1,200 check bill passed, we had the same dude come up again who rejected Josh Hawley's push to pass $1,200 stimulus checks this morning. Ron Johnson walked up and immediately said, "I object." And he talks about how much work that the Republicans did in debating the HEALS Act and the Skinny Bill, which, by the way, neither of those included stimulus checks. Ron Johnson says we should not be shotgunning money into the economy, and he went as far as calling stimulus checks a waste of time. Then he read off a survey, and maybe I didn't catch it, but I didn't hear a particular source for this when I was listening to them on C-SPAN. But the survey he read off says that people would only spend 24% of their stimulus check money on consumption, and 76% would go towards savings or paying off debt. And he says that that is not good stimulus. Then he refers to how back in the day when Obama did stimulus, the unemployment boost was only $25 per week, which is true, and that $300 is generous. Bernie Sanders then came right back up and immediately slammed Ron Johnson for saying that the reason Democrats didn't take the Republicans' bill is because there were no stimulus checks, which is true. I also pointed that out. Bernie Sanders says Ron Johnson is worried about $300 billion for extra stimulus checks, but Ron Johnson is also a person who voted for $1 trillion in tax cuts for the rich and hundreds of billions of dollars for corporate welfare, per Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders says that when half of people in this country are living paycheck to paycheck and 19 million people are spending half of their incomes on housing, you have to help the people because the people are hungry. Outside of this debate itself, Rob Portman mentioned that Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and Kevin McCarthy are all working on finalizing the current $900 billion stimulus package, which there still remain substantial issues within. The major leftover issues are: should people get a stimulus check and unemployment pay? Should unemployment pay be 12 to 13 weeks, or should it be the full 16 weeks? Should the Federal Reserve's 5 lending programs be extended for an option if they're needed? And Biden's team, with Janet Yellen at the Treasury Department, would be able or would have access to extending these programs. Republicans say, no, this should not happen. Democrats say, hey, give them the option. Don't screw them out of that option. You could watch my video this morning where I went through the lack of actual use on these lending programs, anywhere from 0.2% use to 18% use on the max. These programs, honestly, these programs should end. Democrats should say, hey, give us the $1,200 checks and let those programs end. Just my opinion. Watch my video this morning. I go through the documents for more detail. Should live venues get $17 billion in grants? That's another item. And should eviction protections be extended or not? Plus, should there be additional farm subsidies and additional SNAP program benefits? These are all the leftover remaining issues. Now, there may be a push tonight to extend the government's funding until the 20th. We're going to see that in the House. We'll probably see it come up in the Senate, but it's entirely possible that we will be shutting down this weekend. And that is probably because now with Chuck Schumer himself joining Bernie Sanders on the $1,200 stimulus check push, it's completely possible that we are going to shut down the government to leverage the government's shutdown to try to push for stimulus checks. As a result of all of this, John Thune does not believe we will get a COVID deal today. He says that he was hoping for a deal on Sunday, but he then said, quote, it may be later than that. Rob Portman thinks it'll get done tonight, but John Thune says, no, this is a heavy lift. And in response to whether we would actually get a deal done tonight, he says, quote, that would be a triumph of hope over experience to think we will actually get a deal done tonight. Looking forward, the House of Representatives was shut down on recess between 1 and 5 p.m. The House will be voting on this extension between 5 to 6, maybe 7 p.m. But again, it's not likely to mean anything unless the Senate actually gets some movement done. We expect a very long evening here regarding the government shutdown and new updates. So if you appreciate these sorts of updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share the videos, and folks, we'll see you in the next ones. You might not get all notifications though, so make sure you come back to the channel. Just type in me, Kevin, and search, and you'll be able to see all the videos. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.